Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into something a little different. It's about resilience
Okay.
and how to, keep going even when things get really, really tough.
Hmm.
We've got this source here. It's really interesting. It dives right into those moments, when it
Yeah.
feels like everything's falling apart and you just kind of want to give up.
It's funny you should say that because this source, it doesn't try to sugarcoat anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it gets real right away. It says, there are some times when things just aren't going to go right. Life happens.
Wow, it's like straight to the point, no messing
Like
around.
that, like it's giving you permission to say, hey, things are rough right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not about pretending everything's perfect.
absolutely.
Has you ever felt that way? Like you just need someone to be real with you, someone to say, yeah, this is hard.
Oh, for sure. That's huge. Just
Yeah.
acknowledging the difficulty is so important. It's like that first step to, actually getting back on track.
I see. So it's not about ignoring the problem.
Nope. More like saying, okay, this is where we are. How do we move forward?
Makes sense. So what comes next? Where do we go from there?
Well, that's where it gets really fascinating.
Okay.
This source, it talks about this valley between two voices. Like we hear these different voices in our heads when we're struggling with something.
Two voices.
Yeah, like is wisdom versus worry or gratitude versus like grumbling, you
Hmm.
know, blame versus faith.
Huh. I've never thought about it like that before.
Think about a time when you had a big setback, a big challenge. What were those two voices saying to you?
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. There's that one voice, the one that's like, you're gonna fail, you can't do this, all doom and gloom.
Right.
But then there's this other voice, quieter maybe, but it says, you've got this. Remember that time you overcame insert relatable challenge. You can do it again.
Yes. Exactly. It's like this battle inside going back and forth. And the source is saying it's so important which voice we choose to listen to.
Okay.
We can give in to the fear, the doubt, or we can tap into that inner strength, choose to be resilient.
So it's not just about avoiding those tough times altogether. It's about what we do when they hit us.
Exactly. It's about that choice, how we respond when we're in those breaking points.
Right, right.
There's this line in the source that says, every time you break, it's a chance to give up. But there's also opportunity to get stronger, smarter, tougher.
Wow, that's powerful. It changes the whole way you look at things.
Instead of seeing those breaking points as the end, we can see them as like opportunities to grow.
Right. Yeah. It's like instead of falling apart, we can actually use those challenges to build ourselves up.
Yeah. And have you ever gone through something really hard and come out on the other side
Yeah.
and felt like you learned something, like you grew as a person?
Oh, absolutely. I think about those setbacks in my career and even in my personal life. It was painful then, but looking back, I see how it forced me to learn new skills, to adapt. I had to dig deep, found resources I didn't know I had.
And that brings us to this other key idea from the source.
Okay.
It talks about this reason to keep going.
Reason to keep going.
Yeah, it's about finding your why. The thing that fuels your resilience, gives you that strength to keep pushing, even when it's tough.
I think I get it. It's like when you have a strong enough why, it's like you can handle anything. So what are some examples? What are some of those whys people have?
Well, it could be anything that really matters to you,
Yeah.
deeply, I mean. Your family, your dreams, values, maybe even a sense of duty or responsibility to something bigger.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's wanting to make a positive impact on the world. Or maybe it's proving to yourself that you can achieve something great.
I see. So it's like that why becomes your anchor,
Yeah.
keeps you steady when everything else feels, chaotic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's amazing how much power a clear purpose can give you, like an extra boost when you need it most.
It really is.
And this source, it uses some really, I don't know, strong imagery when it talks about this idea of becoming unbroken.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it describes it as like rising up from a dismal and wretched place.
That's a powerful image. Really stuck with me, too.
Yeah, me too.
It's like it's acknowledging that becoming unbroken, it's not about avoiding the tough stuff. You got to go through it, you know?
You mean like face it head on?
Yeah, like confront the darkness. And then you choose to climb out of it.
Okay, so not pretending it didn't happen.
Right.
More like recognizing it, letting it shape you, but not define you.
Exactly. Have you ever noticed, there are people who go through incredibly hard things,
Yeah.
but they come out like even stronger on the other side.
Oh, absolutely. It's like they've been through fire, and they came out even more beautiful, more resilient,
That's a great way to put it.
like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Yes. And the source goes even further. It doesn't just stop at standing up. You know, it talks about the very act of fighting on
Oh, wow.
and how that's what makes you unbroken.
Okay, so it's not like a one-time thing, not like flipping a switch and suddenly you're unbreakable.
So
Sounds more like a constant choice, a commitment to keep pushing forward, even when it's really hard.
exactly. I think of it like training for a marathon. You don't just wake up one day and run 26 miles.
Right.
It takes like consistent effort, pushing yourself beyond what you think you can do and embracing that challenge every single day.
That's a good analogy. It's like building a muscle, that
Yeah.
resilience muscle. And the more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Yeah. And there's this other line in the source that I love. It says, nothing can stop you. The only thing that can stop you is you.
Oh, wow.
Really powerful, right? It's all about mindset.
Yeah. It's like it reminds you we have so much more control than we'd realize. We can choose how we respond to things, how we see things. And ultimately, whether we let those challenges defeat us or define us.
That is so important
Yeah.
because sometimes it can feel like we're just, I don't know, stuck. Like things are just happening to us.
Right. Yeah.
But this source, it's pushing us to take ownership. Recognize that we have the power to choose, even when things are tough. Our attitude, our perspective, our actions.
This whole idea of staying power is really sticking with me. The source says, I got staying power. And it feels like it's inviting us to find our own source of that inner strength.
I love that. So what do you think? What helps people cultivate that kind of staying power?
Well, I think it can come from a lot of different places. For some people, maybe it's their faith, their spirituality, connection to something bigger. For others, maybe it's their family, friends, a sense of community.
Yeah.
It could even be a passion project, a dream they're chasing, a desire to make a difference in the world.
All great examples.
Yeah.
I love how different they are.
Yeah.
Shows that there's no like one size fits all answer.
Right.
That's
Totally.
personal.
Yeah.
It's about finding what clicks with you, what gives you that sense of purpose, that drive.
It's interesting how this source manages to be both like super real about the challenges,
Oh, yeah.
but also so optimistic about our ability to overcome them.
It's a great balance, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's like acknowledging the darkness without letting it like swallow you whole.
Right.
It's about recognizing we're vulnerable, but at the same time, tapping into that strength we all have inside.
Exactly.
So any thoughts on how we can actually use these ideas like in our everyday lives?
Well, one thing that jumps out is self-care.
Healthcare. Okay.
Yeah. When you're going through a tough time, it's easy to forget about taking care of yourself.
Oh, for sure.
But when you take care of yourself, physically, emotionally, mentally, that gives you the energy, the resilience you need to face those challenges.
Makes sense.
And it doesn't have to be complicated. Getting enough sleep, eating healthy, spending time in nature, doing things you enjoy, things that help you relax.
Those are all good things.
And don't underestimate having supportive people around you.
Yeah.
Friends, family, mentors. That network can make a huge difference.
I agree. Sometimes just having someone to listen, to offer a different perspective, or even just remind you of your strengths.
It can be so empowering.
Yeah.
And don't forget about setting small goals, achievable ones.
Mhm.
When you're feeling overwhelmed, breaking things down into smaller steps can really help.
That's a good point. Because even those small wins can give you, a sense of accomplishment, and that can help you stay motivated.
Absolutely. Keep the momentum going.
Right.
And remember, it's okay to ask for help
Yeah.
if you need it. A therapist, a counselor, a support group, they can provide guidance and support when things are tough.
Yeah. There's no shame in reaching out. Actually, it's a sign of strength, being self-aware.
That's right. And, this source, it also talks about showing the world what you are really made of. Have you ever felt like going through something tough actually helped you discover strengths you didn't even know you had?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think about those times I had to step outside my comfort zone, face my fears, or just keep going when things were really hard. Those experiences, they taught me so much about myself,
Why, what?
about my courage, my resilience, and how resourceful I can be.
And I think that's what this source is getting at. We all have this incredible potential inside to overcome challenges and come out even stronger. It's about embracing the journey, knowing that those tough times, those moments when we feel like giving up, those are the times when our strength is really forged.
Yeah, it's like the victory is in the becoming, in the constant effort, in choosing strength, over and over again.
Exactly. And even if we don't always get what we want, the process itself, going through those challenges, it changes us in a good way. It teaches us about ourselves, about life, and about how resilient we really are.
Mm.
This source, it's interesting. It feels like it's talking directly to the listener,
Yeah.
like a coach giving a pep talk.
It is. It is empowering. Yeah, it does feel like that, like a personal pep talk almost.
Right. It's like, hey, I know things are hard, but you got this. And it's not just about, getting by. It's about really thriving.
And I like how it doesn't pretend there's some like magic solution. It's
Okay.
honest. It says, hey, this journey becoming unbroken, it takes work, commitment,
You got to be willing to keep showing up.
even when you don't feel like it.
Absolutely. It's not about pretending everything's perfect. It's about being real,
Hmm.
acknowledging the tough stuff, feeling those emotions, but then choosing to focus on what you can control.
Okay.
Your attitude, your outlook, the actions you take.
Right. Yeah. Like that saying, life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react. This source, it's all about that 90%.
Yeah, that power we have to choose.
And that's where the real growth is, right? When we're pushed, when we have to dig deep.
We find strength we didn't even know we had.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the main thing you hope people take away from this?
I hope they remember they're not alone. Everyone goes through tough stuff. Everyone has doubts and fears, but we all have this resilience inside, this ability to overcome even the hardest things.
It's like a muscle we can all build up, right? The more we choose resilience, the stronger we get.
And it's important to remember becoming unbroken. It's not like a finish line you cross. It's a journey, a process of growth.
It's always evolving.
Exactly.
So for everyone listening, what's one small step they can take today to tap into that strength, to choose resilience?
Maybe it's setting a small goal, something you know you can achieve, or reaching out to a friend, a mentor for support, or even just taking a moment to appreciate the good things you have.
All good ideas.
Remember, you have the power to overcome anything.
And don't underestimate those small steps.
They can make a big difference.
This has been a really inspiring deep dive, a great reminder that we all have what it takes to be unbroken, to rise above those challenges and create a life that has meaning, purpose, and resilience.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for joining us on this journey. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep choosing strength.